Greetings. In this video, we are going to look at the correct way to chant the Gayatri mantra as per the Taittiriya Shakha of the Krishna Yajur Veda. So the Gayatri is verily the mother of the Vedas. It contains the entire power of the Vedas, and therefore it must be recited as per correct pronunciations and intonations as laid by the rules of the Vedas. Now, they cannot be sung in any fashion you like. Of course, unless you are reciting it as per the Sama Veda, you have to sing it, but that fashion is specific to the Sama Veda. What I mean is you can't sing by using a tune that you like as you wish, a freestyle tune, right? So improper recitation of the Gayatri can give negative effect. They can be devastating as well. So do take the effort to learn the Gayatri as per the correct pronunciations and intonations. Now, starting off, we can see the Gayatri as laid out by the Devanagari script and the Romanized. So let us look at the pronunciation aspects of the Gayatri. Now, those who can already read the Devanagari would not be having any issues, but those who use the English script may have to learn how to decode some of the keys here. Now, note that this is what we call the IAST script. It is a modified Roman script used to specifically represent all the possible Vedic sounds. Now, what is important is that you learn how to decipher these codes that we have used in the script. Rule number 1, wherever you see a H, just the alphabet H without a dot below, which comes after a consonant, you exert a forced there. For example, let us just look at the first line. Om Bhur-bhuvas-suvaha. They should be pronounced as Bhur-bhuvaha, not Bhur-bhuvaha. Without the force, the pronunciation gets improper. So the Bhu should be made clear. Next, in Bhargo, it should not be pronounced as Bhargo, Bha. Next, Dhimahi. It is not Dhimahi, it is a strong Dhi. And finally, Dhiyo, not Diyo. On the contrary, Devasya does not have a H after it, the D alphabet. So this should be pronounced as Devasya without the force. Pronouncing it as Devasya is wrong. Rule number 2. In Varenyam, you notice a full stop, a dot below the N. This is a very unique sound. So this simply means that it refers to a retroflex sound. Now you can forget the name that I just mentioned. All you need to know is when you're pronouncing the N here, you have to make sure that your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth. Your tongue has to be in contact with the hard palate as shown in the diagram. So it sounds a little bit pressurized, like a na. It should be pronounced as Varenyam, not Varenyam. If your tongue is touching your teeth when you say the N in Varenyam, that is wrong. It has to be in contact with the roof of the mouth. Varenyam. Rule number 3, Visarga rule. Now you will notice an alphabet H with a dot below. This is what we refer to as the Visarga. It resembles an expiration sound. For example, this word alone is pronounced as Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Naha. Now the Visarga is altered in the way of recitation in accordance to the sound that tails it after. So in this Gayatri, there are two Visarga rules to be followed. Number one, after Bhuvaha, it is superseded by a Sa sibilant. So what you need to do is you have to just transform the Bhuvaha to Bhuvas. So it becomes Bhuvas Suvaha. Bhuvas Suvaha. Bhuvas Suvaha. Number two, here Naha is followed by a Pa sound in Prachodayat. So as per the Visarga rule, you give an Uf sound here. This is called the Upat Maniya. So you say Naf Prachodayat. Naf Prachodayat. Now there are some who prefer to use Nah Prachodayat. That is acceptable too. Nah, as in you end the Nah sound with a force. Right? So I would not recommend that, because when you say Nah Prachodayat, there is a high risk for you to mispronounce Nah as Na. Right? They sound alike too. Now this is very risky, because when you say Na instead of Nah or Naf Prachodayat, the meaning of the Gayatri gets totally altered. Instead of requesting the cosmic intelligence to enlighten you, you actually request the cosmic intelligence to unenlighten you. So to totally annihilate that risk, use Naf Prachodayat, because when you say Naf, there is no way you could mispronounce it to Na. So we have covered the pronunciation aspects. Let's just recap. Number one, wherever you see the H without a full stop below, which follows after a consonant, you just add the force. Bhur Bhuvaha, Bhargo, Dhimahi, Dhiyo. Number two, the retroflex end in Varanium should be pronounced with tongue touching the roof of the mouth. And number three, the Visarga rules, this would be pronounced as Bhuvas Suvaha, and here Naf Prachodayat. And lastly, just as a reminder, the entire Gayatri only has the sound Sa as a sibilant. Now this is important because there are many who mispronounce Devasya as Devashya. It is not Devashya, it is Devasya. Sa only. Suvaha, not Shuvaha. Savitur, not Shavitur. So it is pretty simple. Just keep it Sa at every place. Now that we are done with the pronunciation rules, let us get into the intonations. Now the Vedas are recited in Swaras. So in the Yajur Veda, we use three Swaras. The upper Swara, middle Swara, and the lower Swara, to what we refer to as the Svarita, Udata, and Anudata. So when you see a vertical line above the syllable, it means a higher pitch. For example, Om Bhur Bhuvas Suvaha. Take note as to how I brought the high pitch in Suvaha. It went Suvaha, Suvaha. That Vaha at the ending is brought at a high level, high pitch. Next, if you see a horizontal line below a syllable, it indicates a low pitch. For example, in the very first line itself, Om Bhur Bhuvas Suvaha. You note how I brought the Bhuvas. You notice how I brought Bhuvas Suvaha. You notice how the Vaha in Bhuvaha went low. Another example, Tat Savitur, Tat Savitur. Now in Savitur, the Sa is at a higher pitch, the V is in a lower pitch. So Savitur, Savitur. Note how you can play with the swaras. And if you see neither of these lines, it indicates a middle pitch. Right? A middle pitch is the pitch from which you begin the recitation from Om. So the Om denotes the middle pitch, and a pitch which is higher than the middle is the Svarita, the high pitch. The pitch which goes lower than the middle is the low pitch, the Anudata. Now we have a variant in the Svarita, the high pitch. It is called the Dirgha Svarita or the double accent. It comes in a tune like We have two syllables, two words here in which we observe the double accent. Number one, Varenyam Bhargo. Number one, Varenyam. Varenyam. The re is brought in a double accent. It is chanted in a mid pitch followed by a high pitch. Note that both these lengths must be of equal duration. Re, Varenyam. Number two, Prachodayate, Yate. This is the other place in which we see a double accent. So let us just go through the entire recitation line by line. First line. Om Bhurбhuvassuvaha. Om Bhurбhuvassuvaha. Line number 2. Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Now, some points to be made as per the Swara rules. Now, the Yam in Varenyam is brought in a lower pitch if you make this whole verse as a continuous chant. Now, if at all you leave a gap between Varenyam and Bhargaha, as done in some traditions, the Yam comes in a middle pitch. For example, let me just give an example to this, right? Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Now, the Yam should come in a middle pitch only if the continuation is stopped between Varenyam and Bhargaha, right? So if it is continuous, you bring the Yam in a lower pitch. So this is what we are going to follow here. We are going to give this whole verse as a continuous recitation. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Finally, Dhiyo yo naf prachodayate. Dhiyo yo naf prachodayate. Now, I would put this as a little bit of controversial issues which I am aware of. Now, as per some traditions, the Visarga expiration should not be elongated. As in, they disagree with you reciting it as Bhurбhuvassuvaha. So the ha at the ending, as per some traditions, is not to be elongated, right? So they just do Suvaha, Suvaha, just an abrupt short ha at the ending. Rule number 2, there are some tradition which do not agree with the elongation of Prachodaya to Prachodayate, in the sense that they follow Prachodayat instead of Prachodayat. But just giving an example as to how some tradition have some varying rules. Now let us just recite the Gayatri 3 times. Om Bhur भूर्भुवः सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. Now, some rules in recitation of the Gayatri. When you're reciting the Gayatri, your spine has to be erect and straight. Strictly no swaying of the body, no bodily movement, no twitching of the eyes or to imitate the swaras. Your body has to be still like a rock, and you have to recite with involvement. And you are advised to recite by facing the direction of the sun, because the Gayatri verily empowers the solar energy within you. Number 2, when you're reciting, you may fix the gaze to the point between the eyebrows, where the third eye chakra is located. So this is the advice which was given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Now just ensure that it is a gentle gaze. Do not concentrate, do not force, do not exert pressure. It should be a very gentle gaze, just like as how you observe, you gaze at a flower, a rose. Similarly, you should give a very gentle gaze towards the point between your eyebrows. If you experience any form of discomfort when you're doing this, drop this part. This is just drop this practice. Just recite the Gayatri without altering your gaze, position of your gaze. So this is just to visually demonstrate as to how you can fix the gaze at the center of your eyebrow. Now, most importantly, despite having this video review on the correct way to recite the Gayatri, please always have a personal guide, a personal mentor to check your recitation. If you're learning the Gayatri through this video, or if you have polished your recitation through this video, please have someone to check your recitation. We may never know as to where we are making mistakes, right? And it is always better to have them perfected rather than to recite them wrongly and have an undesirable consequence in future. So please, importantly, if you are in need to have your recitation checked, kindly contact the number given in the descriptions below this video,